All right, today we're jumping into a really powerful and honestly often misunderstood opportunity in the world of finance. We're talking about Islamic-compliant venture capital. Now, this is basically a key that could unlock billions for startups, especially across Africa, and we're going to break down exactly how it all works.
So let's start with a puzzle. On one side, you've got this entire continent just buzzing with innovation, right? It's hungry for capital. And on the other side, you have these vast sums of money, literally billions of dollars, just waiting to be invested. So why aren't they connecting? What gives? And here's the twist. The barrier, it's not economic. It has absolutely nothing to do with a shortage of cash. The real problem is a misalignment of values, of structure, between how traditional venture capital operates and the core principles of a huge group of investors.
Okay, so let's really dig into this puzzle. In this first part, we're going to look at where this sidelined capital is coming from and figure out who exactly is being left out of the investment game. This chart really shows us where all this untapped money is concentrated. We're talking about major groups of high net worth individuals, family offices, and big institutions in places like northern Nigeria, all across the African continent, and especially in the Gulf. They have the funds, but they are effectively locked out of the startup world as it's built today. So what's the hangup? This slide lays it out perfectly. Traditional VCs often work with interest-based financing, and they'll invest in pretty much anything. But for this huge group of investors, their principles say no to earning interest, and their investments have to follow some very strict ethical rules. It's just a fundamental clash of how they see the world. And this is what you end up with. It's not a market weakness. It's what's known as a structural gap. A great way to think about it is like a huge, underserved customer base that's just waiting for someone to build a product that actually fits their needs. And that gap? Well, that's a massive opportunity.
Okay, so if there's a lock, there's gotta be a key, right? Let's move on and see exactly how we can bridge this gap and finally unlock all of that sidelined capital.
And here it is. This is the key: Islamic-compliant venture capital. Now, it's an alternative model, but the idea behind it is actually beautifully simple. Instead of just lending money and charging interest, you become a partner. You share in the risks and you share in the potential rewards. Let's break that down even more. A traditional VC relationship can sometimes feel like a lender-borrower situation. Capital is provided for a fee, interest. In the compliant model, though, the relationship is a true partnership. The fund and the startup, they're in it together. They sink or swim as one. It's all about shared outcomes. Now we're getting to the most critical part of this whole thing. See, having the right idea, that's not enough. You have to have the right architecture to make it work. And this is where precision is everything. I really want to pause on this quote because it's the absolute heart of the matter. You can have the best intentions, you can have the right investors lined up, but if the legal and financial architecture is off by even a tiny bit, the whole thing is no longer compliant. The structure is totally non-negotiable. So how's it done? Well, this slide breaks down a really complex process into 3 core steps. First, you build the legal framework, often using special entities called SPVs. Second, all the contracts are built around partnership and profit sharing, not debt. And finally, the entire structure has to be certified by a recognized authority to guarantee it meets all the ethical rules. And within that structure, these are the golden rules. You have to have an official Sharia-compliant certification. Your profit-sharing models have to be crystal clear and transparent to everyone involved. And every single investment has to be screened to make sure it aligns with ethical guidelines. These are the pillars holding the whole thing up. So we know what it is, and we know how to build it. Now let's talk about just how big this opportunity really is, because this isn't just a local play. We're talking about a global one. I mean, just in Africa alone, the potential for scale is enormous. Take a look at these markets. Northern Nigeria is a really clear starting point, but then you've got countries like Kenya and Senegal that also have strong Islamic finance communities and a growing hunger for venture capital. They're prime for this kind of model. And this is where the potential just explodes onto the global stage. While all this great innovation is happening in Africa, the capital that's needed to fuel it is ready to be deployed from all over the world. So here's the crucial point. Massive pools of capital, especially in Gulf nations like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, are actively looking for well-structured, compliant ways to invest. They want to invest in African growth, but they need the right kind of bridge to do it. These funds, they are that bridge.
Okay, let's bring all this together now and look at the bigger picture. This isn't just some niche financial product we're talking about. It's really a glimpse into the future of finance itself.
This quote just nails it. It perfectly summarizes everything we've been talking about. The problem was never a lack of money. The problem was a lack of investment vehicles that could align that money with great opportunities in a way that respected the investor's core values.
And that brings us to a new term we can use for this: precision finance. That's what this model really represents. It's not just about shuffling money around, it's about architecting it with absolute precision, built on a foundation of ethics, clear structure, and that powerful idea of sharing both the risk and the reward.
So what's the big takeaway here? When you get this right, you unlock three huge things: dormant capital that's been sitting on the sidelines, an entirely new class of investors for the startup ecosystem, and some incredible cross-border opportunities connecting continents. The potential here is undeniably massive, but as we've seen, unlocking it isn't about good intentions. It's a game of precision engineering and finance. For anyone building in this space, getting the structure right isn't just important, it is everything. It's the difference between failure and unlocking a new era of global ethical investment. And the conversation on how to build these bridges, well, it's just getting started.